Steal like an artist, they say. But what does that actually mean? Well, in this video, I want to give you a practical example in the context of photography. And so we're out here at the local Dairy Queen because I was inspired by a photo I saw on Instagram. And the photo I saw was of this Dairy Queen drive-thru in North Texas. The photo was taken by Connor Belt, and you can see from his Instagram feed here that he's into the retro film-like aesthetic that I also enjoy as a photographer. So I think the reason that this photo spoke to me is because when I was working my way through university and taking various jobs to pay for that, I worked a lot of night shift jobs. So I worked as a truck loader, I worked as a janitor, I worked as a security guard. And always one of the best times of those shifts was driving home when, even in a city of 250,000 people, everything would be very quiet and calm. And I guess this photo that I saw reminded me of that. So my effort here is to try and recreate that feeling, but to do it a little different. And so I could do this photo set right here at the DQ, but I don't want to do that because I'm afraid that if I do the same kind of concept in the same kind of location, I'm going to end up basically replicating what Connor already did or something very close to it. And what we want to do is take inspiration, not copy. So let's head over to a different location and see what we can do. Alright, so heading out here, we're leaving the Dairy Queen behind and we're heading out to a different location that is going to be similar but different. And you can see here Angus has that quiet early morning vibe, so we won't have to go too far. Alright, so here we are coming up, and the place we're going to is a different plaza, and it's got a number of different kind of fast food restaurants, so there's lots of options there in terms of what we can create. And there's also some good parking here, which of course is not always a given when we're out doing photography in the field. Alright, so this is the area here. And so you might recognize it's one of the locations I pre-scouted in one of my earlier shorts, so I know it's got some good potential. So I brought with me my Canon DSLR, my smartphone, my iPhone, sleeper camera, camcorder for some extra B-roll footage. And you know, it's a little easier to do night photography with your iPhone, but since I made that recent video with Steven about how using your DSLR produces better results as a photographer, I guess I better at least try to use my DSLR. Alright, so time for the initial shot here. Is that better if you get low? Not bad, but a little dark. I think if we get under some more lights, the DSLR will work a little better. I got some manual settings on there that I checked out before, but you know, really is dependent on the actual condition. Alright, so we'll head on over here. Okay, I'm going to use this pole as my tripod and take this one with my phone. Just turn the exposure down a little bit in this case for higher contrast. And with a bit of editing, I like the way this one turned out. And you can see how this shares some similarities with the original concept, but it's different in the way it's executed. Alright, let's head a bit closer and I'll show you a different example. Okay, another pole we're going to use as a tripod here. This one builds upon the drive-through idea, but with a different location, different angle, different edit. So just carrying on from that, I decided I'd give the KFC a try with using the DSLR since it was getting a little brighter out now. So we'll just set the action cam down here and give it a go. Alright, so here's what we ultimately got here. Shot 1 with the DSLR is still a little dark. Shot 2 with the iPhone maybe a little nicer because of the automatic exposure compensation, but I think you can see it still doesn't have the same clarity and sharpness as the DSLR shot. Alright, so I made one last go at this DSLR iPhone comparison here at the plaza. And this here is the DSLR shot. And again, that one's coming out pretty dark. I felt like the light was coming up to meet the settings that I had, but I should have just changed the settings. All right, so now a comparator shot with the iPhone. Again, maybe a little nicer due to the better exposure compensation. So a couple of things I learned from this photo session. One, it is possible to take inspiration from the work of other creators without copying. I think for a long time I was a little hesitant to use competitor analysis as a way of creating content because I was always afraid it would lead to copying. But with this session, I kind of realized that in the context of photography, there's a lot of different things that you can do to make sure that that doesn't happen. And it really starts with beginning with a central concept that you might use as a source of inspiration, but then changing things like changing the subject, the location, the lighting, the angle, the editing, the genre, or some combination of that and more, which takes that original inspiration and moves it into something original, something that you've made your own through what you've added to it. And this works well because it gives you so many different ways to spur your own creativity and also to build on what you know is already working, what's already gained traction somewhere, suggesting this is a concept or a format that can work well with a prospective audience. And the second thing I've learned is that I do need more practice in how to do low light photography with my DSLR. As we've seen from the images in this session, I think it is true that DSLRs offer more clarity and sharpness for photos than your smartphone, and you can also have more creative control using the different lenses, filters, and camera settings available on a DSLR. Of course, you have to study those camera settings and practice in order to make it work effectively. So perhaps that's a good topic for a future episode. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see, and in the meantime, check out one of these other episodes here if you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.